So we're back in our first episode of Swords of Theringia, which is a sword and a sorcerer and sword game with our main characters Yalu, played by Rod Anderson, and Hamze, played by John Hastings. And we did character creation and finalization previous session. What we are at the city of Shadrazar, which is a center of trade. Let me see, get my share screen up. And again, some of our pictures. So, and Shadrazar is located at a strategic point, trading point on an inner sea near the nation of Amonta and the pastoral lands of Washesh. In the larger world of Theringia, which is based on Ron Edwards' map of that shows up in his Sorcerer and Sword supplement. So we'll just jump into opening scenes for both characters. Both are going to be post-kicker. So,
yep.
And we'll start out with Yalu, who,
okay.
Rod, you are currently at it's evening. You're at a salon in the house of Al-Shabaa. The house of Al-Shabaa is a rival merchant house to the one where your patron, Mirza Al-Zaim, where you and your patron live in the house of Al-Zaim. As you mentioned on your context wheel, the different houses have competitions and cultural events that they compete essentially. So you and the master of your house have been invited to participate in this salon, which is basically a party with fruit juices and foods and entertainment. And at the house of Al-Zaim, the house of Al-Shabaa, you are being entertained by a fellow troubadour by the name of Attis, who you know from the court of Omeri.
Okay.
You had become Omeri's master of music, and you actually displaced Attis from the running for that position.
Ah, okay.
So he is performing music, and it seems he's done some quite beautiful work, and it seems like he's trying to one-up you. Also present are, of course, the master of the house of Al-Zaim, his daughter Ashara, and two of her brothers. And
I hate those guys.
Ashara appears to be a little distracted. It's like she keeps seeming to think about other things, and then get back to interested in the music again. So as things unfold, Attis starts playing a new ballad, and it turns out to be a ballad to a woman called Nafre, which is the name of your former lover, Yalu, from Luzon. And he sings this love song to her that includes details that make you pretty convinced that he somehow has learned of her.
Okay.
And he finishes his song. What are your thoughts at this point?
Okay. Well, I think I'm probably a little annoyed in a competitive way and
Mm-hmm.
want to maybe try to one up him or put him in his place.
Okay.
Not sure if I mean, the thing with Nafri is probably part of that in some way, but I'm not sure if Yalu really believes that that's ever going to happen again, or like he's been, I know he's been like corresponding with her at some point, but it's kind of almost hard to say.
You indicated that you had letters in your
I
personal
do.
quarters back at the house of Al-Zain.
Yeah, I think maybe this makes him think that he has to sort of now decide whether he's going to pursue. Actually, I'll tell you what, like this, when he concludes his ballad at the suitable moment, I think Yalu wants to like take the stage and sing a ballad, and he'll sort of extemporize a ballad about a young lover who's been separated from his old flame. It's been so long, and he got a letter from her, and he's wondering if he should try to go back to her, or if he should pursue someone new. And in describing the someone new, I think I will sneak in a few details that suggest Ashara, just to be mischievous.
Okay. Well, get out your what are your cover dice?
A cover die should be 5 if I make this character how I want to. Yep.
Actually, we should be using the word past.
Pass the dice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So you get your 5 dice. I think I'll give you an extra dice just for bringing in the context of what's going on around you.
Okay.
And you're rolling against Attis's 4 dice in his performance.
Okay.
And let's roll away.
Okay. Well, my highest is a 9.
Mine is also a 9. Let's set that aside. What's the next one?
1 8.
I have 1 8 as well. What's next?
I have 2 7s.
Aha. Set aside 1 7.
Okay.
What? So you have a 7. What's your next after?
So 7 5 4 is what I have remaining.
Okay. So my next is a 6. So it sounds like you get 3 victories, if I remember correctly.
Is that correct? I thought of the remaining dice, only the one that beats your highest is only the ones that beat your highest are the victory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that now that you say it. So you have one victory.
Yeah.
And so you see a bit of annoyance go over the face of Attis, but he covers it up quite quickly. His patron and your patron both seem very appreciative.
Okay.
And Ashara blushes.
Okay.
And at this point, I want to take you to a flashback.
Okay.
A quick flashback to the song of the strange itinerant singer that you met the day before.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you met him in some corner of the souk, the marketplace. And you had discovered he was, of course, a fellow troubadour, but he gave you a weird vibe. But in exchange for some of your own songs, he offered a few of his, one of which was this song about the ancient instrument that you have become interested in, and how it brings out the greatest talent of the one who masters it, and provides them with a means to creating great beauty and influencing their path in life. In addition to that, the song talks about having to be strung with strings of orichalcum glass and crimson, and it is entombed in the hall of the Yellow Lord beneath Shadrazar.
The Hall of the Yellow Lord?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you flash back, and Attis attempts to make some witticism that that challenges your right to mention a lady as beautiful as Ashara in your songs. And again, we're going for a little bit of conflict here. So I think, what would you say, Will? Or cover is, I mean, you're a court musician, you'd be used to this kind of jazz.
Will and cover are the same.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just go for it.
Either way. So I'll just roll my. So I have a 9.
You have a 9. What's your next one?
7.
7. So once more, he seems to be falling a little short of the mark.
Okay. So it sounds like, I think Yallo feels pretty comfortable in just brushing off Addis as a non-entity at this point. At least that's his take on what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I think he'll go ahead and turn his attention to possibly, so since the song indicated that this instrument would need some potentially pretty expensive care, so he's now thinking like he's going to like sing the song for these other wealthy men and try to entice them into perhaps financing his expedition or his search for this instrument.
So how are you going to frame
in any
that?
case, I'm simply going to sing this. I'll say, if you wish to hear no more of beautiful women, I will play a very strange song that I learned last night or 2 days ago from a man from unknown lands whose playing was exquisite and otherworldly. Or I'll talk up this mysterious strain, mysterious source of the song, and then I'll play the song as best as I remember it.
Okay, and you're going to attempt to play it up as a quest that you need support with? Is that the idea?
Yes, to attract the attention of the wealthy men, attract their excitement about finding this.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's roll your cover again.
Okay. I have a 10.
And what's your next one?
A 9.
And the next one?
A 7.
Okay, so you've got 2 victories on that.
Oh, well.
You see several powerful people in the room seem to be attracted by this. Let me check something. Okay. And so as the evening wears on, your patron, Al-Zaim, talks to the patron of the house, Al-Shabaa, and consults with a couple of other of the great men who are visiting. And as you probably know from being around Al-Zaim, he recently lost a lot of money on a trade fleet that sank.
Okay.
So your performance has helped him get some prestige, and he's trying to arrange loans to float his business in his next trade fleet.
Right.
And so you've gotten an approving look from him during this process. At the end of the day, you get invited over to one of the other. Well, let me see here. As the salon is closing up, Master Al-Shabaa himself asks you to come over.
Okay.
And says, "What is this instrument of which you sing? You're seeking a patron. Is your patron not ready to provide further assistance?"
I will say, this is awkward. He's I may have been a little rash in singing the song so before so many people, but yes, I do think this instrument is real, and I think if with the right help, I could recover it to the glory of whoever wanted to sponsor me. As for Mr. or my Lord Al-Shabaa, perhaps he will contribute and share in the glory. Perhaps not.
Well, your patron is Al-Zaim.
Al-Zaim. Oh yeah, sorry. I wrote that down and got the names mixed up anyway.
Of course, I can understand that. So he is sitting right there listening to this, and he looks.
Oh, okay. Wait, is he sitting right there? I didn't say that. I'll be a little mild. If he's sitting right there, I won't be that. Let me try to negotiate this. I'll say something like, well, I believe the glory of the finding will be to anyone who can contribute to the expedition.
Oh, okay, something more diplomatic. Okay, well, the two patrons look at each other, and Al-Shabaa says, "Why don't we begin with this? I will provide the loan of money that we were discussing, and I will participate in part of the glory of the discovery of this instrument as well."
All right. Well, I will thank him and say, and as much as money would help, what would help is knowing of some wise man who can help me locate, who knows the history and lore of this place, and who can help find the tomb of the Yellow Lord, and brave men who can help force its doors.
Okay, well, Al-Shabaa looks over at Attis and says, "You are master of lore here. What do you know?" And
oh boy,
let's see. Yeah. And he makes a concerted attempt to sound wise and cover up the fact that he doesn't know anything.
okay.
However, he does say, it is said, however, that Lord Quince, the vizier of the emir, has access to certain books that catalog the buried areas underneath Shadrazar.
Okay. Well, then it's him that I must speak to in some way, if an audience can be arranged. I'm sort of indicating that I'm expecting men with more wealth and power than me to smooth the way to talk to this highly placed official. I'm assuming that's how this sort of affair goes in the city.
Okay.
Or on the other hand, I could just, or does he know, what's this Lord Quince? Is he sort of part of the circle, or is he kind of strict and orthodox, or is he kind of a free thinker, or in other words, is he part of the circles I would run in already, or is he someone I would have a difficult time approaching?
Shadrazar is much more cosmopolitan in its religion, so it has not participated in the schism that happened in Amantah, where you came from. So there may be followers of the various gods of Amantah, but they have their own.
Okay. So anyway, well, I'll just sort of float that if they can get me an introduction, that will help a lot. But if they can't or don't want to, I can try to approach him myself using my talent, which is another.
Okay. Well, one other piece of information, since you bring up religious schism, is that you remember Attis from Luzam back in the old days, and it was always unclear what side he was on.
Right. Well, but he's here, so.
But like you, he's a refugee.
Yeah.
So let's leave that there for now, and we'll go check in on Hamze.
Okay. Do you mind if I throw in one more thing?
Of course, go ahead.
I was thinking of when I go home to my quarters tonight, I think I'll write a letter back to Nefri, just chattily telling her I saw Addis, and the poor fellow's unfortunately talent has seemed to have declined in his distress, and just express my sincere sense of what a tragedy that someone so talented.
Roll your will dice for me.
Real, just being pissed. Okay, 8 is my highest.
And what's the next one?
Another 8.
Anything more?
2 6s and a 5.
Wow, total victory.
Really?
You notice quite quickly that some of your letters to and from Nefri are missing.
Oh, I see.
And maybe we should come back to this because you might want to follow it up the same night.
Okay, I think once I notice that, I think final scene will be me putting down my pen and crumpling this letter in my fist that I'm writing currently and throwing it away.
Okay.
Sort of scowling.
Okay. Meanwhile, Hamze, it is an indeterminate time of the night. You wake up with a horrible sense of dizziness, and it's like an enormous hangover.
Yeah.
And you have memories as you realize you're lying on a pile of bodies, some of which are still moaning and moving.
Ugh.
And you remember, you begin to remember that your Lieutenant Buzur had lured you out to a tea house in a disreputable corner of the souk near what's called the Rat's Nest, the maze of slums, and he had promised that you were there to meet someone about some profitable expansion of the beggar's kingdom. And after you had your tea, though, you started to feel woozy. And then these three young men showed up, which you recognized as Ashara's brothers, and they proceeded to take you out into a back alley and beat and kick you. You were, because of the imposed drug, you were unable to respond. However, you were wearing your cloak Gisu, which I believe has armor that would be far than sufficient to keep you from serious damage. Mm-hmm. So the hardship you suffered, they think they might have beaten you to death, but you passed out due to the drug.
Yeah.
Okay. And
makes sense.
And so you wake up and you're in this horrible place. It's in the dark. You can see stars overhead.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I crawl around. I'm kind of gonna try to pull myself up, and I don't want to stand on these bodies, so I guess I'll try to crawl off the pile if I can, kind of find some space and see if I can stand up and get a better sense of what else is around here.
Okay, as you're beginning to move, you notice that there are several figures higher up on the edge of the pit, and they seem to be moving. They have masks, kerchiefs tied over their faces.
Oh, yeah.
And they're moving along and going to individual bodies, and apparently they're looting the goods of the individuals. And when they find somebody who appears to still be moving or dead, they jab them with a dagger.
Okay, that's not good. And is it, and sorry, I'm down like a pit. Can I see like, can I see how to, is there like a way for me to climb out? Or, I mean, even not worrying about now if like I'm seen or not by those guys, but would I be able to climb out, or how would I get out?
Well, you just climb out. It's a pit, and you've probably seen it before. However, you also know that it was originally a collapsed area just outside the edge of town, where there was formerly some kind of underground catacombs or something. And cool. that you've always noted that that might be a escape point into the catacombs, or escape point from the catacombs. It's just a place that nobody wants to risk.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think then what I'll do is I want to call on Gisu to cloak me as I go through, as I try to like crawl to like I'm trying to like crawl my way to where I think I might be able to sneak into the catacombs from here.
Okay, so as the looters, I guess we'll call them looters, yeah. Ghouls, body thieves, progress in your general direction, you call on Gisu to cloak you up. Yeah. And what Gisu's power is, like 6 or 7 or something?
8.
8.
Yes. Painful.
Okay.
Be a problem later on.
And Gisu's need is to reveal things, right?
To reveal secrets, yeah.
To reveal secrets. Okay. So you get, as you order this, how do you like communicate with the cloak? Is it mental, or?
I think it's I think he says it's like a short incantation usually for him. Like he does say something under his breath, and is is essentially talking out loud to it, but quietly in this case. But I don't know that I don't know that it's a mental thing.
Okay.
per se.
So what I will do is you roll your 8 power against. I'm going to give these guys. There's more than one of them, so instead of just having their base will, I'm going to give them an extra dice. So it's your 8 power against 3 dice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I get 2 10s, 3 8s.
Okay, just 3 8s and that's it.
2 7s and a 6.
Okay, so set aside the 110,
okay.
And then the remaining 10 and the 8s count as victories.
Okay.
Cool. So you quite carefully and skillfully just like walk past or crawl past these guys.
Yeah, I'm crawling. I'm crawling.
Mm-hmm. But you have to push your way through bodies in order to actually get to the catacomb exit that you're looking for.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And it's not, I'm remembering this indignity. This is now I'm starting to make my list of things I've got to take care of next. I'm going to remember this indignity when I see Boozer again.
Now, as you're halfway through crawling through the pile of bodies in order to go through the exit, you find that your cloak, it seems to be expressing its need to expose something here.
Let's see. I will. I'm going to call out I'm going to try to kind of call out in a voice that sounds like maybe one of the looters, and I'll say, oh, there's another live one over here, and I'll kind of in the direction where there is actually a live guy who's still struggling, or still maybe wasn't struggling, but was maybe breathing quietly or something. Like I'll basically tell on like one of my fellow, people in the pile who might have survived this had I not done that.
Okay.
It's probably a humanity loss roll now that I say it out loud. I don't know. I don't know. It's sorcerer and sword, but it's pretty grim.
Wait a minute. The definition is, it is about, somebody you shared hardship with. And in a sense, these guys are.
I feel it as a humanity loss roll, just as I say it out loud. I feel that's a shitty thing to do.
Yeah. So
but I do it. I do it.
But it does stop your cloak from nagging or wanting to sweep itself off you or expose the catacomb exit or something like that.
Yep. I believe that.
So, Rod, would you like to roll? How many dice are we talking about your humanity?
3.
3. So, Rod, would you roll 3 dice and we'll do a down check here?
Might have gotten lucky. I got a 6. 6, 2, 1.
Okay, I got a 9, 8, and a 6.
Okay, so you don't lose any.
I don't lose.
I
don't have much to spare.
Co-conspirators with foul play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sneak through the crevice or whatever as the guy comes over and stabs thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As of course you're escaping, they go over and they kill the guy that you pointed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. How grim can we get here? So.
But it's it had to be done. I mean, it probably would have happened anyways. Maybe.
You can always justify things to yourself. Yes. You were the bigger king. It's just like the kind of world you live in.
Exactly.
And maybe why you have only a 3 humanity.
That is true.
Okay, let's get back to Yalu. Do you want to follow up that evening on? If you take investigative action, you had a total victory before, so I'm going to give you, let's say 5 bonus dice to your next action.
Nice.
Right, if I follow up on that. Well, I'm going to. I feel like it was probably Addis, but I guess I should try it. Yeah, I think I'll go like based on everything. I'll just go track down Addis, I guess, back at the party or at the after party or wherever. And
okay, you do have like your patron's house has a bunch of servants in it and other people.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can ask it. Yeah, I can just ask if anyone's seen someone going into my room or sneaking around or lurking. Yeah, I'll question the staff.
Okay, so roll your will plus the 5 dice of bonus.
Okay. I've gotten more dice. Where are they all? All right. I have 2 10s and then an 8 as my highest.
Okay, you got 2 victories.
All
so
right.
you start as the first person you ask is the manservant who was assigned to you.
Okay.
His name is Reti, and he is also a former refugee from Amunta. He's always claimed to have been on your side of the religious schism.
Okay.
But the moment you ask him, has somebody exactly what words do you use?
I'll ask him if he knows if anyone does he know of anyone who's been going into my room or going through my things without my permission. Has he seen anyone has he seen anyone who shouldn't be in here?
So his response is to say, "No, oh, musical one." But you get this distinct feeling that he's like shifty and is lying about something.
Okay, or perhaps. All right. Well, or perhaps has someone offered you money for anything of mine? This is no time for concealing things from me. Okay. I can be magnanimous if you tell the truth now.
There you go. Okay, so you can carry over 2 dice, add that to your will, get 1 dice for good dialogue, and we'll roll against his 2 dice of will.
All right, I have 2 9s.
Oh, I have 1 9. What do you have? Take away your first 9. What's left?
So 9, 8, 7, 6.
You have 4 victories. Okay. At this point, he just breaks down and says, he goes down on his knees and says, "Oh Lord, do not punish me. It was I.
But why?
It was my weakness. It was my weakness. I could not. I was paid. It was my weakness for money.
Paid by who? By who, Reddy?
Oh Lord, I cannot. I cannot say it was a man who met me in the streets in a cloak and offered me a large sum of money.
All right. I'll say very well. You have done right to tell the truth. Although, if I am completely honest, it wasn't very helpful. see that you don't meddle in my affairs again.
Do you want any more information about this?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I don't think you could pump him for more without rolls.
Okay. It doesn't sound like he knows much. I guess I could get a description of a more thorough description of the man. Is what
Yep. It was someone wearing a nondescript jalabia with a scarf wrapped around his face.
Okay. Any distinctive features of his voice? Oh, I'll ask about his voice. Would you say he had a good voice?
Oh, yes, I would say he had a melodious voice.
Okay. All right. Very well. I need know nothing more.
Yes, master. May I leave, master?
Yes. Yes, go and be more wise in the future.
Yes, master. Okay. Roll your will again.
Okay. I have a 10 and an 8 and some low dice.
Okay. You're pretty sure that he's planning to just flee tonight.
Okay. I don't know that I object to that. I could. Well, I guess I could follow him. Yeah. All right. I'll just keep an eye on him and sort of follow him and see if he goes anywhere that's to the house of another wealthy patron, for example.
Okay, well, let's switch back to Hamza. You've just entered a portion of the underground around the city that you have heard about but not ever visited.
Okay. I'm gonna want to try to I'll try to use whatever.
It's very dark,
Okay.
by the way.
So I think I am somewhat used to kind of moving around. Really, I think I'm not unused to kind of moving around in very, almost complete darkness or needing to deal with that. Not that I have special abilities with that, but I'm just not. I'm not uncomfortable by it. I'm not afraid of this. I'll be moving along very cautiously and slowly, though, kind of creeping along. And my goal will be to make use of whatever I've heard about this part of the catacombs to get me I'm thinking like I want to get back to the city in one of my hideouts. Right. I got those hideouts, I think. Yeah. So I want to get to my hideout. And I think I probably have a general sense of kind of what direction that is from here, but
you're going along in pitch dark,
yeah,
using your hands basically to feel
and
the wall to tell where the turns are and things
yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
but
And hoping that there's no pits in front of you.
yeah, I'm moving along slowly, cautiously, feeling with my feet in front of me. Um, uh, I'm listening. I'm going to get very attuned to like what sounds I'm hearing. And I think, you know, paying attention to the kind of the draft, or like the lack of air movement, or the movement or lack of movement of the air. So he's kind of in tune with all of these things. And I'm patient at this point. Like, I'm not in immediate danger from those looters. I'm patient. I'm putting aside my, I don't know. I mean, I guess I think there's part of me that is like completely, I don't know, say multitasking, but on the one hand, like I'm completely like slowly moving along and doing this thing, in terms of trying to stay safe and move towards it. But then, my list of people I want to get at is also kind of back there in the back of my head, and I'm sort of brooding at the same time. So, or it's acting as like motivating me to sort of motivating me forward. Each inch is like getting me. I'm like, this is an inch closer to Buzar.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's helping you keep moving.
Yeah, but I want to be, I don't want to rush it and miss. I don't want to break my leg before I can get to him.
Okay, well, as you know from your experience as the Beggar King, the underground areas around your Shadrazar are quite a jumble of catacombs, escape tunnels, things that have been elaborated by smugglers, as well as lots of buried buildings. Shadrazar is built on several levels of previous civilization. And so there's lots of stuff. And there's always rumors of monsters and other undead things lurking, and sudden abysses and so forth. So essentially, you are being challenged by an active environment.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, you gave a really good description, so your cover plus 1 dice.
Okay.
And then I think, just to avoid being put in extra peril, I'm going to throw 3 dice against you.
Okay. The high die is, I've got 2 9s.
Okay, well, I've got a 10. So
peril.
So as you're moving along, you get this. Now remind me, what are the powers on Gisu?
The powers on Gisu, he's got let's see, he's got the armor, the two cover, it can make appear as an aristocrat or peasant, boost of stamina, cloak, and then enhanced hearing perception.
Okay. Um, so roll his power.
Okay. Okay, so I've got a 10, 110. And then next is 2 7s.
Okay, so at this point, you can hear what sounds like a large collection of rats.
Hmm.
They are coming your direction. What do you want to do? Their intent. So if we go into like combat here or action phases, their declaration is they're going to close with you and try to crawl all over you.
Yeah.
Take you down.
I will. Have I been by as I've kind of gone along here? Have I been by anything that seems like it nearby in the catacombs? It seems like it would have been a way out. Like if I backtrack or not.
Yes, and you can say I'm heading there, and we'll determine the success based on your roll.
So yeah, I'm gonna turn and head back that way. I'm gonna try to, as much as I can, like remember what it was like, so I can now move more quickly. And I've been paying attention to everything, so I think.
So I think we're still working on the Beggar King past, unless your will is better.
No, Beggar King is still there.
Or this stamina might also be, well, it's more mental activity. So will or past would seem to be appropriate. Let me see here. All right.
It could be like past as the first roll, and then rolling into like a stamina roll.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like a past roll to begin with, but then it's the stamina to actually run away from them.
Okay. So, and if I remember, the way to handle that is you would roll your past against one dice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll roll the one dice.
Okay, so 2 7s are my high.
Oh, we got a 9. So
sadly,
that doesn't help.
So now I've got the stamina roll.
Mm-hmm.
Try to run away. So I may be a little panicking. I guess that was, I'm not able to kind of pull all my stuff together. Okay, but with this one, it's pretty good. I got a 10, a 9, and an 8 for my stamina.
A 10, a 9. Okay. Set aside the 10 and the 9.
Okay.
And 8.
8.
And what do you have after 8?
That's it. So I just have 3 dice.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you find the alternate direction that you hope will take you away from here, but you realize you've gotten ahead of them, but they still seem to be following you. So you can carry forward a dice in the next round. Yeah,
I'm going to keep moving out of here. That and try to the extent I can try to get to the surface, and at least that'll give me some more space from these rats. High die is a 9.
Okay, my high die is a 10.
Oh.
So a number of rats jump on you, and they're crawling up your legs as you're making your way out towards the surface.
I'm gonna call on. I want to call on Gisu to boost my stamina to like kind of, I'm gonna fling them off me and stomp on them, and just. I'm assuming I can. I'm assuming that I can attack them as if they're like one
Yeah.
entity.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna like smash into them and all that stuff. I'm gonna see if I'm hoping Gisu will boost my stamina.
Okay. I think he will at this point. So that gives you his power added to your stamina?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's how that works. Yeah. Okay. So that gives me then 2.
And then the extra dice for the victory.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. Need one more. Sorry, what about the extra dice?
Didn't you win the last round?
No, I lost the last round by
lost by
1.
a
So I
point.
should
Oh.
lose a die, or
Yeah.
you get a bonus die, or I
I
lose
get
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you lose one?
Lose one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was terrible. My high die is a 9, even with rolling 10 dice.
And what's the next one?
8.
Okay. Well, you got one victory.
Oh, there we go.
So, yeah, you throw off some of the rats, but you're still fighting them.
Okay.
They're delaying you as more start to arrive.
I'm going to.
You can see starlight up ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make use of that kind of the damage I did manage to do or whatever to make another break for it. So I'm hoping to get that victory as a bonus die to roll over it so I can run away. And I won't boost myself because that opens me up. If I boost again, I open myself up to the confusion.
How does that connect? Tell me about that.
If you 2 boosts in a row, I've got to.
Oh, that's right. Oh, there's a downside.
I then potentially lose my next action.
Yeah, I will also add here that I have been forgetting to allow people, either you or the rats, to roll defense, to abort to defense.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have. I needed. Maybe I would have. I don't know, but I forgot to.
Mm-hmm. Well, so this is another round of they're trying to pin you down and start biting into you, and
Yeah.
you're
going to try to run away again.
Okay. Roll away.
Okay. High die is an 8.
My high die is a 10. But yeah, that's all. So you could abort to defense.
If I don't, I mean, I think it's orthogonal. So if I don't, I can get damaged, but I can get out of here. Would that be fair to say? So I'll take the damage, but then I'll try to get out of there.
Okay. Well, at this point, I believe it would be just one temporary. I can't remember what it's called.
I know what you mean.
One
penalty.
Dice down. One temporary penalty. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, there's no lasting penalties from this yet.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'll take that and hopefully I've gotten some distance from them and I'm in an open space at this point.
Okay, so yeah, you come out in the surface. You're in some nondescript alleyway in the slums.
Okay. And do they go back? Are they going to continue to advance on me, or do they stay in the down in the hole?
I think they don't they don't come out.
Okay. So I'll kind of brush myself off after all of that. And I probably know pretty much where I think I'd probably know more or less where I am. And I'll now, I think, take the, I don't want to run into any like people who would know me. Oh, I'm going to ask Gisu to kind of use the cloak power to make me appear just as a normal peasant, so that I can like make my way through the city without any of the, because I don't want any of Boozer. Like I'm paranoid that like Boozer has like taken over, or I can't trust my, any of the other beggars. And I know that they'd be all over the place, like passing information if they saw me. So I want to use that of Gisu's power. I call on Gisu to make me appear just like a normal peasant, and I'm gonna, take the surface streets to my hideout.
All right. Let's come back to that and go look at what Yalu is up to. Are you going to let Reti flee and then try to follow him?
Yes.
Okay. So you're keeping watch, and I think this is simply, it's probably a will roll for you.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. Well, my high is a 5. So.
Your high is a 5. Well, he's not attacking you, so there's no aborting to defense. A 5. Okay. You realize that you didn't actually catch him leaving, but when you check the servants' quarters, he's gone.
Okay.
You could continue. You could attempt to continue to pursue him, but you'd be at a 1 dice down.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to continue, or I'll search the city for where I think he might have gone. Maybe.
Okay.
Back to Mirza Al-Zain's house, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay.
Still I'm doing really cold now. I have a 6.
A 6. I'm afraid you've just lost him.
All right.
I got a 10 and an 8 on 2 dice, so the total victory, I'm just going to call it.
Okay. Well, I will. I guess I'll return to my quarters in frustration and put a small stand with a clay pot on it in front of the door. Paranoia, trying to get to sleep.
Okay. You can block it just in case somebody comes in.
Yeah. Here.
Okay.
Someone comes in.
So let's go back to John, to Hamze, and making your way. You can use the power of your cloak against 1 dice, against like the general chance that you might be spotted by one of Buzur's agents.
Yeah.
It's highly likely that you'll succeed.
Another bad high of 7 with 8 dice.
Yeah, well, I rolled a 1, so.
So I've got a 7. I got an 8. Sorry, I got an 8. 8 was high, but 8, 7, 5. So seven victories.
If everything's above a 1, you get a total victory.
I had a 1, so otherwise.
Oh, okay. So not quite.
Not quite a total victory, but
since this is a situation where it's not going to be, I mean, effectively, if I was to roll like a counter search, I'd be rolling 1 dice against your power, and that seems highly unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just call it. You get to your hiding place.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna. I think I take. I kind of take I take Gisu off and I hang it up on the. I kind of hang it somewhere, and I'm sort of now feeling myself at the moment. And I'm maybe still yeah, I don't know that I'd want to rest. I don't know to the extent that I have to, but I don't think I want to. What I think I would do is actually it's still night. I think I would rest. I kind of know what I want to do, but I think I want to do it the next day. So
Mhm.
I think it makes sense that I would want to, that I'm back at my place, and I'd sort of after that whole ordeal and after being
You collapse
kind of
on the
poisoned,
you
I would
collapse
just
on
sort
your
of
cot
collapse.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And
So
this hideout is like yeah, this is a good point. The hideout is very sparse. Like this is just, there's not much more than a cot and like some some dried meat or dry, kind of like some food that keeps well, and like there's maybe some way to get water
mhm. You got
nearby, but it isn't
dried meat, some hard bread, some
yeah.
dried fruit, that kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah, probably for drinking there's probably like some wine, or some
Mhm,
bottles of like wine or something.
mhm, mhm,
um so yeah, I'll eat and drink some wine and then pass out, I think.
mhm.
Yeah.
Uh, by the way, what does Ashara know about your real identity?
I think she knows who I am. I think she knows he's the beggar king, and my sense was just she thought that was somewhat romantic,
Oh, I see. Okay.
that there's some transgression there by crossing the social class lines.
Yes, there would
But
be.
also, like, he does come across as like I say, he comes across very aristocratic when he is in his beggar
Mhm.
king persona. So
Yeah, that would be attractive.
yeah.
Would be very Princess Bride kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And this is a good place to pause and come back in a few minutes. So I'm going
Sounds
to
good.
pause the recording here.
Okay.
And you can both consider what you're going to do in the morning.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, so in the morning, Hamza wakes up in his safe house, and Yalu, your pot is disturbed in the morning by a house servant
Okay.
bringing you breakfast.
Okay.
Does one or the other of you have something jumping to your minds about what you'd like to do next?
Yeah, I want to so I want to I will put Gisu on, but I'm actually not gonna, I don't want to use his powers or anything at the moment, but I want to make contact surreptitiously with one of my, I think, as I put them on my diagram, I say one of the apprentice beggars who I feel would be who I think would be very loyal to me, like a very low level in the beggars guild, so someone who's pretty new, but who I have a sense would be pretty loyal to me, or who could be, would be unlikely to be in the amount of time that's passed, sort of brought over to, if because I'm worried about Buzar doing like politicking or whatever. So someone who so basically someone who I think would be potentially like loyal, yeah, like still loyal to me,
Okay.
or someone I could use as a cat spa. and I want to go out in the city, not using Gisu's abilities, but just my own kind of, I mean, turning back to my own skills of kind of just moving through the city without people kind of paying too much attention or noticing, and kind of knowing where the beggars usually set up so that I can avoid places where I'd be more likely to run into like the higher ranked, the kind of higher ranked beggars. I think the guild is, I mean, I see the guild as being pretty hierarchical, so.
And I had imagined it also containing not just beggars, but it's kind of a alliance of beggars, thieves, and smugglers, and killers, and poisoners, and all sorts of underworld characters.
Yeah. And I want to avoid I want to go to like a newer bag, but yeah. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want to get an ally who can kind of, eventually I want to find out like where Boozar is. But that's
the agenda you wake up with. Yeah. You also wake up with having had dreams about going to one of the little shrines to the old ones that you're aware of, and doing a little obeisance with that. Or I don't know exactly what kind of sacrifice we're talking about, but just Gisu's just saying, "Hey, I want to do this."
Strangle some rats.
Yeah. It's not a need; it's just his desire.
No, it's his desire. I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it off for now, but it's pushing into his consciousness from the dream state, but I'm pushing it back down. I'm like, I've got business here. I've got things to do.
Okay. So
your superstitions, Gisu, can wait. He's old.
You get a strange sense of yearning. So just let's, in order to make it from where you are to where you can make contact with this beggar that, or identify a beggar that you think can help you, make a past roll. Okay. And I'm going to oppose it with just one dice.
Okay, so a 9 is my high die.
Okay, so I got a 9 and I rolled one dice, which I believe means I won.
Is that?
If you only roll one dice and you tie.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Interesting case.
I forget how that works. Oh, I forgot my book upstairs. I think we can go with that. That's fine by me.
No, I'm almost absolutely certain.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm curious about the nuances.
All right. So you're making your way through the streets and going to an area of outside the Plaza of Merchants, where you know that certain beggars that you have had positive contact with usually approach the more wealthy people as they pass by on their way to the souk to spend money and otherwise entertain themselves. It is morning time, so it's mostly about traffic, getting food, and maybe some early people going out for more elaborate purchases, but mostly it's about food and business. And you hear a voice behind you, and it says, Hamza, is that you?
I'll turn and see who it is.
Okay. Let me give this person a name. So it is actually one of the beggar enforcers by the name of Farid.
Yeah, he was not who I was looking for.
No, and he would be connected with the hierarchy, so you would suspect that he knows what's going on.
Yeah. I'll turn and so we're in this is so there's people around us, right? This is
Yes.
this is very crowded.
Yeah, it's morning time. It's not yet the heat of the day, but it's a sunny day. It is narrow street, or your area is narrow streets. The souk is a long corridor, alleyway with alleyways off the side, you know, and cloth covering over top to keep the sun off. So there's lots of possibilities for running off the side or into somebody's building or something like that.
And I'm very Hamzi's very kind of definitely spatially aware of like what his options are to run away. But I'm gonna walk towards Farid, and I'm gonna take on a imposing posture as I approach him. And say, I'll respond to him. It is indeed your king. I would expect a little more respect in your tone, Farid. Perhaps you've forgotten that you're still. Perhaps you've forgotten your place.
Okay, well, that's great. I think I'm going to ask you to make either a will or a cover roll.
The same.
Yeah. And against his 2 dice will.
7.
Well, my highest was a 2.
Oh, nice. So I've got a 7 and a 5 and a 4.
Okay. So do you have? Is there a 2 after that? 7, 5, 4.
A 2, yes, then a 2.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not total success, but you've got a 3 dice advantage on him.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, "My king, I am glad to see that you are alive."
And I can tell
I
he's.
I had heard other things.
Heard from who? Buzar? Perhaps you can help me with that. Where is he now? Where does he where does he perch?
Well, I believe he's in the beggar's court, coordinating things. He has declared that you were unfortunately killed.
Yes.
You had one of your seizures and apparently fell over.
That's son of a gun. Yeah, I don't like. That takes me back. I mean, that kind of that does sting. I'll say.
From a mechanical standpoint, you've got a 3 dice advantage against his 2 dice will.
Yeah,
which means it's really difficult for him to resist anything that you want to.
That's true. I don't know that. This wasn't my intention when I set out this morning, but plans change. I'll say you, yeah, I'm feeling that maybe so I'll say, yeah, sorry to have the little analysis paralysis here. I'm going to say free, it's good. It is good that I ran into you. I have been, I must admit to being a little bit in fear of my safety, and you will be a good, I feel more comfortable with you by my side already. Come, let us go pay Buzura a visit, and we will see what explanation he gives to my face about the happenings of last night.
Okay, you're going to go straight on. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good transition point to go check in with Yalu. What's Yalu up to this morning?
So I think I want to follow up with trying to get an audience with Lord Quince. And so if no one is sending me a message to say that they've arranged an audience with Lord Quince, I guess I could call, well, I'll call on my patron. I'll just, probably after I go get breakfast, I go down and visit with my patron a bit anyway and play music for him while he thinks important
his
thoughts.
breakfast in the walled garden with okay.
And so I will, my approach with him is probably to I don't know, hint I'll probably like drop hints or whatever by asking if he wants to hear the song about the instrument again. I'm working on some reharmonizations.
Okay. Let me check here again. And
seeing if he doesn't volunteer any information that he's done anything to help me along this path, then I'll just take my leave after I've done my duties and wander up the road and maybe try to get in myself.
Okay, so you're going to like offer some music, remind him of the song of the instrument, and see if you can't gently persuade him to support you. Okay.
I mean, I guess I'm just trying to establish that my sort of touch with these kinds of people is to tiptoe around their is to not be too direct with them. You know what I mean? It's kind of an artist patron relationship.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll his will of 3 dice, and you'd roll your cover because you're using music. I give you an extra dice just because you had, I think, some kind of advantage from the night before, and you're bringing it back into play. So, and any victories you get will be just carry over to advantage on trying to see Lord Quince.
Okay. You have 2 9s.
I have 2 10s.
Well, don't worry.
So your patron says, of course, I will let me call in the scribe and I'll have him make up a little note for you. And Well, when he calls in the scribe has some other business to present that has to do with managing the debts and donate or loans of money from the House of Al-Shabaa. And the bad news is that the House of Al-Shabaa is in a bit of a tizzy this morning, and the loan has not been processed. Apparently, the lady Ashara has disappeared. And so your patron is distracted by the fact that he's not getting his loan finished. And at which point it becomes socially difficult for you to pursue him helping you any further.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll take my leave. And thinking, well, it appears my concerns are the least of the worries around here. Maybe I'll go to greener pastures. And
so
I'll actually pay a visit to Al-Zain, I think, first, and just sort of offer.
We've got it backwards again. It's Shabazz.
Al-Shabaa. Okay,
father.
Al-Zain. Al-Zain is my guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how that got so. Okay. So thoroughly fixed in my mind. All right, I'll try to remember. Al-Shabaa.
Yeah.
I'll go to Al-Shabaa's house and thank him, to offer thanks. I guess to his servants, I'll say I'm here to pass along my thanks to Al-Shabaa. And should he, but did I get the, am I still getting it wrong? Like,
what are you thanking him for? That's what I'm perplexed about.
Just for his kindness and generosity towards me.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because his loan was supposed to encourage your patron to support your buying of special materials.
Right. Right.
That was my intent. I might not have been
okay.
clear.
I understand. Yeah. I just hadn't made the connection that he was supposed to be giving the money to my guy and not that he was working it. Right. Yeah, you said that. Okay. In that case, you know what? I'll leave that thread. I guess I'll leave that thread unpulled for now and just try to get in with Lord Quince myself by hanging around the palace and offering, or going to the palace and saying that I have heard, telling one of the servants that it is I, Yalu, the former master of music of King Omari, and I have heard a song of curious ancient lore, which I've heard that Lord Quince is a collector of.
Okay. Well, the vizier is a busy man. One of his clerks tells you, and in order to see how much time are you willing to wait, just as a general.
I've got time. I'll play in the courtyard. If they're making me wait, I'll just play in the courtyard and hope it reaches curious ears.
Okay, that's a good idea. So you're playing your cover or rolling your cover. Yeah. Let's see, where is Lord Quince? Okay. Well, let's see if you get past his filters. So roll your cover, and you roll against his will.
Okay. Well, this isn't a disappointment. 7, 6, 5, 5, 4. So 7 is the highest.
7. Well, you've got 1 dice up.
Oh.
So we'll call that a win. And it does take some hours. It's not until the vizier takes his afternoon break, his early afternoon break, that he comes out into the garden where you're playing, with a couple of with a guard and a couple of scribe and various hangers on. And he comes and he says, Master Yalu, I have been enjoying your music from afar. I hear that you wanted audience.
I say, yes, I was curious about some of the details of a strange song that I heard yesterday. If you care to listen a little longer, I will play it for you.
Okay.
And then I play the song and then tell him. And so it went. And I think that it must be true. But I know not where this tomb of the Yellow Lord is.
And how can I help you?
I will say it. I've been led to believe that you have a library of books concerning the history and lore of this city. I only ask to be the chance to perhaps consult them and see if I can discover the location of this tomb of the Yellow Lord.
Well, you have a reputation for being a honest courtier and admired in the home of your patron. So I will hand you over to my librarian, and you're welcome to look through the city records.
All right. Okay. All right. I will thank him. Thank him with some, I guess, courteous phrases that aren't coming to mind offhand. But.
Yeah, that's why it's role playing and not acting. So where did we leave Hamze?
I was getting Fareed to kind of back me up as I go into the Beggar's Court, or I'm heading to the Beggar's Court to confront Buzar directly.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's a big scene. I think that maybe this is the place where I want to start wrapping up the session.
I think that makes perfect sense to me too.
So
I'd rather have that go into that fresh.
And however, I am willing to. Well, actually, it's a good break point for Yalu too, because the next scene is him digging through the library.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Very good. Cool.
Okay, so having called that, maybe we could record a little bit of discussion about how I've been using the dice system. And I'll just bring up one of the things I noticed partway in was that I was doing extended conflicts in several different situations. And I suddenly realized that I didn't necessarily have to, there's this balance between is it just a one-off decision, or how much do I chase you around with the rats, for example? And
yeah, I did notice you were pushing for the dice quite a bit, which I think is fine. I think it's part of
I like
an kind of an orientation. I think there has to become kind of an orientation process where you pull the levers a bit and kind of find out where your own what your own feelings are about how many, how often, how many, and so that's fine. But,
go on.
Yeah, it felt right to me in terms of the amount, for whatever that's worth. Just sort of made sense.
Okay.
In terms of how interesting things were, and when I kind of like the. I find sorcerer dice, the way everything plays out, to be pretty meaningful. I mean, I think as long as the we kind of take the results seriously, then even if it's a small chunk that gets resolved, but we take it seriously, that's good.
Mhm.
If we resolve a bigger piece, but we take it
Mhm.
seriously, that's also good. I think the important thing is just taking it seriously, and then I don't think you can go wrong really. And then
Mhm.
it just becomes more of like, yes, like I think Rod is saying, like a sort of a aesthetic, individual aesthetic or individual kind of group aesthetic choice about, when we focus in versus
Mhm.
spread
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
But I think as long as it's meaningful, like and I wrote down, I think like the dice system here, and I don't know why it happens to me in Sorcerer like more than playing many other games, but that the and I like having, and it only happens if we get a couple of dice in a couple of rolls in a row. So really, it only really happens when we do have those more extended conflicts, or kind of a series of rolls, that I get this like twisty. I get this sense of like sort of wrestling where my character is going and realizing he's going in a different direction because of the way the dice came
Hmm.
out. That's how I felt with it. Like when he lost it, just the last couple of rolls for me, he lost that first exchange to kind of be
Mhm.
surreptitiously moving throughout the city,
Mhm.
and then um and then sort of like coming up against Fareed, I'm like, well, I'll try this. Like I hadn't, I'll try this, like kind of being brazen about it.
Mhm.
And then that really worked. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I've got, that really worked. I'm not going to be sneaky now. I'm going to go with it. Even
Right.
though my intentions with the character when I started that sequence was, oh, I'm going to sneak around and do this thing. But what the dice told me was like, no, like I really did well being brazen. I'm going to keep doing that. Like,
Mhm.
and
Right.
it's hard to, and other people could, like, that's not like the right way to play it necessarily. Like you could get my results and be like, okay, I brazen through that one, but now I'm going to be sneaky again, which should also be fun or fine. But just how it's just it's a very personal thing, but it's very powerful to me when I'm experiencing it, and it's very clear that like, nope, the dice are telling me something new about I didn't
What's
necessarily
going
know
on?
about
So
it before, and now I'm really, you know I'm going to change things around. I'm not going to, like, what I started out thinking is not the case about it. And
you're taking it as consequential.
yeah, so I think
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful. And then and it happens when you get the kind of like that failure and then the success, or like often with me it's like failure on failure on failure. But that
Mhm.
when I'm playing sorcerer, I usually just have most of my most memorable sorcerer moments are like me failing 5 times in a row. But it's good because it's meaningful, and it changes the way I feel. It changes my sense of who the character is too. Like
Uh-huh.
that's like it's tied up in that. It's the sort of dance. I don't know. I can't really explain it better than that, which is not great, but just
I think that's been useful. I
it,
do want
it
do want to give
informs
Rod
my role playing.
I do want to give Rod a chance to reflect on. There were a couple times when I had you making a couple series of roles, and or maybe you have some thoughts on what you saw with John's character.
Well, I'm not sure I have any particular. I was trying to think. Partly this is because I'm sort of constantly preoccupied these days with thinking about the pool, but I was thinking about the interesting distinction between the things you can do in sorcerer. Well, so in the pool, because all of the dice are sort of player led, and the player is always risking something on the
Mhm.
dice roll, there's kind of a sense where it's not a game where you can just throw out dice rolls to see what happens, or to sort of
Mhm.
calibrate the situation, like, you know
Oh, I see. Mhm.
what I mean. So, and that's an interesting contrast to where sometimes what we're doing here is is just using dice to calibrate what's going on in the situation and sort of like build up some fiction that way. Whereas in the pool, a lot of times you kind of have to commit to a fictional idea of what the situation is about first, and then just see what the player wants to do in response. And those are interesting. I do think that's it's a useful skill to have, or a useful minds to be able to get into this mindset of just, well, I have to come up with what the fictional situation is. I have to just say something without dice backstopping me, and then
You mean in the pool?
in the pool.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's a clarifying. I think doing that in the pool is kind of a clarifying exercise for where your standards are, or what you feel about what your role as game master is. And I think that probably could carry over in terms of into Sorcerer, in terms of, you know,
there is a lot of opportunity for you in Sorcerer, at least in my mind, in Sorcerer, having the players say, I'm going to take this action to look into this.
Yeah.
And this might not have ever been explicitly said anywhere, but it could be something that's implied by the setting.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that's doable.
Yeah. I have two comments. One is, in running into Farid, I had a moment of, so is this guy, whose side is this guy committed to, and what's going to happen? And so I haven't actually fully decided this yet, but the fact that you got a 3-point victory against a guy with 2 will, who's an NPC, I still haven't decided whether he's just secretly on your side to begin with, whether you had a good reaction roll, in other words.
Yeah.
Or whether he's going along with it because this seems like the best idea right now. Whether it's a permanent change or not. And because he's an NPC, it's kind of, I don't feel the need to have any extended resolution for that. But then maybe those 3 dice stand as the next time somebody tries to influence him or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had another thought. Oh, I wanted to let this maybe no, you would have seen it if we were at the table together. I was actually the rat encounter. I was rolling 7 dice.
Oh, wild.
And this is because it's a manifestation of a eldritch force in the underworld.
Yeah, those rats were kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about.
It's also why I decided that the rats wouldn't leave the darkness.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I am planning to make a visit to an old one's temple as Gisu desires, and I'm going to strangle some rats for them.
Yeah.
I know that based on my Call of Cthulhu manual, that those don't give you many points. Rats, because I think it's by size. I think they like you. I think it's like size that when you do the sacrifices, the size stat in Call of Cthulhu. So I think the rats won't give me too much, but I've got to.
Yeah, we'll start keeping score.
I've got a.
No, I don't think that's the point here. Okay. Well, any other comments before I shut off the recording?
That's good. That's good.
I'm looking forward to next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll be neat to see this play out over a couple sessions and see how we experience it.
Okay, great. Okay.
Rock and roll. Thanks, Alan. This is great.
Recording off.